Hi and welcome to our latest edition of Get in the Habit with myself, David Finch, my co-host, Sue Allsworth, and our very special guest this week, Gary Lavery. Hiya, Gary. How you doing?
Hi, Dave. I'm very well, thank you. And
Good.
thank you very much for having me on the show.
Good to see you again, Gary.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you, Gary.
Yeah.
And you too, yeah.
So, Sue, do you want to chat with Gary and find out what he does? Because I know all about Gary, and
You know all about Gary. So I know that you're a very passionate. From talking to you just previously coming on here, you're very passionate. So, what is it that you are passionate about?
So, Sue, I'm really passionate about being the best version of myself. Everything that I do in life, I do with passion. I do with drive, and I do with a winning mindset as well. I think that kind of comes from my background of learning and development, but maybe it's way before that, for my sporting background. And but to really set things alight, I'm obsessed with helping people, training people, coaching people, helping people get over their problems. And that's something that really does motivate me every single day.
So, what's you mentioned sport there? What sport? How was you involved in sport, or how are you involved in sport?
Yeah, so my sporting background comes back to when I was about 6 or 7 year old. I was brought up by my father and my grandfather to support Sunderland. So they used to take me to watch Sunderland play. And then I also become obsessed with cricket. And I do say obsessed with cricket because I actually still play the game today. And my kind of obsession for cricket started when I was about 9 years old. I used to always go to the local cricket club to learn the game, learn how to bat, how to bowl, how to field, etc. And that continued for a number of years. So I played for the under 13 side, 15 side, 18 side, and then up into the senior levels. And so my passion has always been there, but to actually sit here and talk about cricket today and actually say, hey, I'm still playing is something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah. It's a habit that stuck with you for a long time.
Well, absolutely. And just to kind of maybe give you a little bit more, I've had my mental battles with cricket and sport. I want to be really honest there. I think I want people to know me as someone who is honest. And even though I had the talent when I was younger, and I was playing for the Durham junior sides, the county sides, I was doing pretty well. But there come a point where I was really getting hard on myself, like to the point where I was going out and batting and I wasn't really enjoying it like I used to. And when you are, let's say, 17, 18 year old, you're kind of looking for the answers. And I didn't have the answers. And one thing that I really worried about early doors was, if I'm feeling like this, I wonder if anybody else is feeling like this. But I didn't want anybody else to kind of know that I was struggling. And I was struggling.
In sport, it's a sign of weakness, isn't it? It's and I mean, mine isn't as fast as yours, but I played tennis and table tennis to sort of county level when I was a junior. Yeah. And you look back on it, and you're just gone in with that, almost like the military. You've gone in with that, you've got to fight mentality. It's gone in with the you've got to win mentality. Yeah. Almost at no cost sometimes. And I think mental health has improved in sport. Yeah. Even not just from the professionals, but from the amateurs and from youngsters as well, hasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot more governance around mental health today, but back then they wasn't.
No.
And I think, you know, back then there was a lot of, you know, don't show your weakness. Don't cry in front of people, you know, don't admit that you're struggling.
And that must have been worse from a male, because us women, to some degree, we've got more permission, I think, to cry, if that's a right thing to say in public, and we're not so, I suppose, inhibited sometimes with that. But for you guys, that's not how, I suppose, society is built up from way back when in the age, is it? That's not how women meant to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the thing is, it's like when you chasing a dream, and my dream was to become a professional cricket player, and when the dream is kind of being pulled away from you and you were struggling inside your own head to try and find the answers to problems, you know, a problem creates a problem. And I've always been a big believer now that you cannot solve a problem in the same mindset. There needs to be a change in mindset. And just to cut a long story short, I actually dropped out of the game from playing cricket because of those struggles that I had early doors. And I dropped out for a number of years, and it was really hard because from being 7-year-old to being kind of 19, 20-year-old, when I dropped out, I played cricket every single Saturday for years. And thank goodness, you know, I trusted my instinct, because inside of me, even though I wanted to be the best and I wanted to win, I just needed to find answers to those problems. And I took down the coaching route, and I actually started coaching cricket as well as sports psychology. And all of this happening around about 20, 21, 22-year-old, that's when I also become a learning and development trainer. I used to work for Orange, the good old mobile giant, which we all know and love. And everything just kind of fell into place to say, do you know what, Gary? Could be something here for you. You're a trainer. You love coaching people. Sports psychology is something new. Go and find the problems and find solutions that you had early doors. And honestly, like, you know, I'm sitting here today and I'm living off how I was early doors.
Yeah.
You know, so my other point there is trust your instinct.
Yeah. Let me ask you, Gary, when you were in that space then, when you were 20, 21 and younger and so on, and now you help people and you kind of help people about, and you've got this passion, and we can hear that in your voice even today, about that passion to really help people be the best they can. Was there anyone back then that you model yourself on, or you don't model yourself on, because it was kind of the opposite to what you do now? So what were the role models like then? What was the coaching like then that you had, or was there any coaching?
There was plenty of practical coaching, technical coaching, but zero mental coaching. Now, I'm a big believer now that the mindset is absolutely key to success. I'm just going to take you back, you know, many, many years. We're probably thinking around about 1995. And we played against the league champions, who were Middleton Cricket Club, and they had a professional called Jimmy Adams, who also played for the West Indies, and he became captain of the West Indies in later years. And that particular game really struggled with the bat. I think I scored about 3 runs from 43 balls, and I actually got myself out. When I walked into the dressing room, and this honestly, this is one of the best things I've experienced, and it made me wake up. When I walked into the dressing room, I was followed in by a gentleman, and I must say gentleman, called Parry, and he was a West Indian, well-respected cricketer, played for the West Indies. You know, everybody loves Derek in the Northeast. And he followed me inside, and he sat down beside me, and he opened the top of we used to call them, the strange name, coffin. So where you put it, it's like a big coffin case where you keep all your stuff. And I used to have pictures inside this coffin case of Brian Lara, Marcus Trescothick, Mike Atherton, my heroes. What he did was sat down and he said, what's the problem? I don't know, Derek. And what he did was magical, honestly. He opened my coffin case and he said, that's the problem. Those three people are the problem because you look up to these three people when you don't look up to yourself.
Oh, mate. Yeah.
And what he did was, and seriously, right, what he did was he actually taught each player from inside the coffin case, my motivation.
Yeah.
Said, the reason that you keep failing is because you don't believe in yourself.
Oh, yeah.
He looked me in the eyes and he said, does Lavery believe in himself?
Yeah.
My answer was, yeah, Derek, I do. When actually I didn't.
Yeah. So what happened then? Because I mean,
honest with myself, when I said, yeah, Derek, I didn't, when he saw straight through me.
Yeah.
Crazy situation. But you know what, right? Listen, that is probably the first talk, and it was very quick and brief, that I've actually had about the mental side of the game.
Yeah.
That made me also realize, do you know what? Maybe there is things outside that I can help with.
There's more than just the skill and the talent, isn't there? Let's face it. And I mean,
massively.
Having been in even just in the lower and the amateur in sport and that, you know, to get that mentality to win, we've all got different personalities anyway. So how that's going to come across is going to be different in some people. You know, if you look at the top of anyone's game, they could sometimes they're seen as arrogant, I suppose, because you've got to be in that place of self-assuredness. And when you're not in that place, you can sort of we all kind of misjudge that sometimes, because it's only because we're not in that, we're not claiming our own power. So when we see it in others, it can feel a bit overpowering, can't it? Because we're not in that place. But you really do, you know, to get to that level, certainly in sport, to be in that zone, and it is a zone that you need to be in, and to maintain that zone match after match after match, it's not easy, and it does take a mental toll, and it will only take one, you know, bad wicket, double fault, whatever it is in whatever sport you play, to set that little seed of doubt or whatever, and then that then starts to pick up momentum. And if you've not got the outside mental support around you, sort of counteracting that or helping you to counter that, because we don't learn in school how to deal with emotions. We don't learn, you know, we're all literally with emotions stumbling along, aren't we, at the best we can, and fall down, get back up, fall down, and stay down maybe for a little bit longer, get back up again. So it is really, and for, if we can start, if you know, I'm assuming you're working with youth and that these days as well, a lot. And if you can start giving them the foundations, oh my goodness, what athletes we could produce in the future.
Absolutely. And the thing is as well, it's like every single person has a mindset. Just from the day we're born to where we are now in life, we conditioned by our environments, friends, family, religion, health and fitness, whatever it may be. And all of that makes us make decisions, whether they good or bad. But if we don't believe in ourselves, then we'll only get so far. Instead of, if you believe in yourself, and if you have that mindset to win, I'm obsessed with winning and high performance. If you think like that, you will always deliver your best performance. And even if you make a mistake, even if you fail, so what? As long as you take a step back and you learn, and then you go again. I think a lot of people out there are very much, if I don't succeed, first of all, I'm not going to do it again. And we see that with New Year's resolutions. You know, most people's New Year resolution is done by February, because they failed that many times, they can't do it. And I'm always another believer as well that, you know, when the window of opportunity opens, that's when you work twice as hard. And also in my book, it's okay to fail. And just going back to what you said about youth, about children, I really don't think that children understand that failure is a positive thing in life, as long as you learn by your own mistakes. So David, I see this in sport. You know, parents sugarcoat their children. You know, they don't want them to fail, but failure is part of life.
Yeah.
And, you know, if they have that mental toughness or the mental skills to deal with failure early doors, that's going to help them when they leave school, college, you know, go for interviews, etc. And it all starts from behind the eyes.
Yeah.
It really does. It does.
No, I mean, in fact, there's an acronym for failure. And I can't remember, but there is an acronym. There's an acronym for fail.
You just failed. That's it. You failed the acronym there, Sue.
I failed. First attempt. I'll have to check it out. But
I've got
right. I mean, there aren't, to me, failures aren't negative. They're one part of life. It's how we actually learn. Because if everything was all hunky dory all the time, we would never have that time to just take a moment, reflect, and it is, at the end of the day, with anything, it's just a change of perspective. You know, don't view failure as a negative, view it as you know, if I fail, it's like, okay, it might sting for a while, but once I can process that and breathe through it, what can I learn from it? Where can I grow from this? Do I need to change anything? Are there any habits I need to reintroduce or get rid of, and have that stop take? So no, totally agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
Parry.
And I wish I knew that when I was playing sport, that failure was okay.
Yeah. Gary, if you had some tips that someone who's listening now, maybe they're younger, maybe they're not a sports person, maybe they've got a different mindset about certain things. Is there some top tips that you can share with us today that you found along the way, that you could share with our listeners, our viewers on YouTube as well, that really would help them to change their mindset? Something quick and simple and easy that they could do. Have you got anything like that?
So first of all, I think that people need to be accountable for their results. So literally not blaming anybody, not pushing excuses onto anybody. You know, if you've mucked up, then that's your responsibility, nobody else's. The second one is, I'm actually going to go back to what we just said, is to embrace failure, because you cannot get away from failure. You just cannot. It's always going to be there. However, if you know how to adjust and adapt to that experience and learn by it, that makes you stronger, both in here, but also in the heart as well. And for another one is, I would say that when the window of opportunity opens, like they said, that's when you work twice as hard. So if you chasing a dream, if you've got a goal, you know, first of all, accept that it is your goal. Acknowledge that you are the person responsible for achieving that goal, but also hard work comes from you, nobody else but you. And I think that's also a message, not just for children, but also for adults as well.
Yeah, it's a really good point, because a lot of people are very, it's a blame culture, if you like, you know. Oh, it's not my fault. It's always someone else's fault. It's not my fault I didn't reach my goals. It's someone else's fault. Some reason that I never did it. That blame culture is very much part of our culture at the moment. But I think the winners doing what you said there is really good. I know that you've recently took on a new habit, Gary, and then maybe you want to share this new habit with us and tell us why and how you got into this new habit. Because I saw you the other day on Facebook, right? And to me, you just like what are you doing, Gary? You're crazy. And you're running into the sea. And am I right in this? It's the North Sea at that point, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's
Yeah, the
cold,
North Sea. The
really
North Sea's
cold.
freezing, mate. You know, it's like, get some common sense here, right? And you're stripped off to like these shorts on, and he's running into the sea and coming out all invigorated and so on. So there's lots of people doing this at the moment.
Yeah.
Someone we spoke to a few weeks back, Jacqueline Haley, she's big into doing the sea swimming as well. Another guy we spoke to does open water swimming. And we know the benefits. There are benefits. But, you know, why did you take it up? Why did you suddenly go, I'm going to do this habit?
I think the reason why is because I just saw it as a challenge. And I heard about someone called Wim Hof. So Wim Hof is a guy called the Iceman.
Yeah.
And he does all this crazy stuff where he goes into cold water, into ice baths, all that kind of thing. And he pushes himself to the limit. You know, there's also other reasons why about that improves the circulation in your body and all that kind of thing. But another reason why I did it is because I actually saw people in the water the week before I did the video, and I'm kind of thinking, if they can do that, so can I.
Yeah.
And everybody has a fear of, I am going to do that, but the water's too cold. Can't go in the water. It's just not me. You know, the water is too cold. It is cold as well. But when you get inside the water and you overcome that slight fraction of fear and you drop yourself in the water, that's when your mind works harder than ever before. Because that's when you literally got to switch off and you think and positive. You cannot think about being cold. It's you literally go into that fight or flight response.
Yeah.
Freeze and just kind of like freeze to death, which was completely out of the question. But also as well, I mean, it's just something else that is involved in sport.
Yeah.
And I'm always a big believer of lead by example.
Yeah.
So, you know, now that I've been in there, I know what it's like. I've also recommended the exercise as a challenge for my clients who work with as well.
Yeah.
You know, start off, have some cold showers. You know, maybe it's like 90-second cold showers at the end of your hot shower or 2 minutes. And then go to your nearest beach and just get in there. And you'll find loads of other people doing the same thing as well.
It seems to be a big thing at the moment, you know.
It is.
It
goes down to mindset, whether you can or whether you cannot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Have you
I
noticed?
know I can. I know I can do it. I choose not to.
Yeah, I'm very much the same. I know I can do it, and I jokingly put a message on your Facebook. I love sea swimming, especially in the Mediterranean. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's where I'll go sea swimming. Do you know what I mean?
I do as well, David. The Mediterranean, yeah.
I know the benefits, but I'm just wondering. I know you've only done this a few times at the moment. It's becoming a habit, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you think, oh, that's not one of my habits. Who cares? I've done it now. But did you notice, or have you noticed any real benefits from it? Because a lot of people say that they do feel a benefit. Have you noticed that yet? Or not doing it long enough?
I would say the benefit is actually being able to stay in the water even longer.
Right.
I also believe as well that it's helped me with weight loss. And also, obviously playing sport, I've had 1 or 2 niggles, calf niggles. I do a lot of running as well. I'm approaching like 500 miles for the year already.
Wow.
I believe that by doing the cold water therapy, it's helping take away these little niggles. And also faster recovery as well. So I can get out the next day and do so many miles.
Yeah.
What do a lot of sports people do once they've played a football or a tennis or a cricket or whatever match? They go into an ice bath.
Right.
Because it is one of the best things that you can do for your muscles when you've exerted yourself and pushed yourself to that limit. And it is not curative, but healing, isn't it? It helps the healing process. So no, totally get the benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the only thing that makes you stop going in the water is your mindset.
Is your mind.
There's nothing else. It can't be. It's actually you dealing with the situation. And if you can overcome that fear of being cold, and you're only going to be cold for so long, and then you get your body moving and your body functions to the water. But you know what it is though, Sue and Dave? When you've actually did it, right, you're buzzing, but also you are set mentally for the rest of that day. That is something I can honestly say is the truth, is it sets you up mentally for the rest of the day because you feel good about yourself.
Yeah. Now, how about people that don't live near beaches, Gary? I mean, you mentioned cold showers. Is that a good thing to start? If people really did, they're listening to this now, watching you now on YouTube, and they think, actually, I'm going to try that. But, you know, like myself, I live miles and miles away from a beach. So it's not convenient to actually go to a beach anyway to do it.
Yeah.
Is there other ways we could do this? You know, like you say, cold shower or whatever. What's another way we could do this?
I think obviously cold showers, cold baths. If you've got a bath. I know there's another challenge as well. Can you remember the ice bucket challenge?
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah, and my question is, did you do it? Did you do it, Dave?
I didn't actually. No, I never did it. No.
You didn't do it. You missed it.
And again, it's one of them things. It's like, why would I do it? Yeah, I mean, you know, you've probably seen it on my website. I've got a video of me walking over broken bottles, which is very much like the fire challenge of broken bottles, whatever. You know, it's a similar sort of challenge. And it was an exhibition, and someone said to me, "Do you want to walk over glass?" And I went, "Why?" So she went, "Well, just prove you can do it." And I went, "Yeah, go on then." So I did it just to prove I could do it. You know, it's like, yeah, but why? Why would I want to do it? And that's the thing. It's like the ice bucket challenge. It's like, yeah, but why? Why would I want to do it?
Yeah.
You know, I don't feel a need that's going to bring anything to my life at the moment. I haven't got a hole that needs to be filled by an ice bucket challenge.
Yeah. But it kind of comes back to your values as well. You know, your own core personal values. And if what you doing is not important, then you won't do it.
Yeah.
Or if going in the water is not important, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But again, a strong message here for your listeners is people will only do what's important to them.
That's a really good point, that is, Gary. Yeah.
And the thing is, you know, we get so many people, or we hear so many people say, "Do you know what? I believe in myself." And then their performance in business, sport, or life doesn't equal to them believing in themselves. And maybe it could be that it's not important to them what they're doing.
Yeah.
And that could be a conscious choice where, it's not important. Or it could be an unconscious choice where it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a little bit of a NLP theory coming out there as well.
That's right. I think it's a really good question that people can question themselves after listening to that today. I think that's a really good, valuable point. Is it important? You know? Yeah. And yeah, you're right. I think we joke about it, but to me and Sue, you know, it doesn't feel important to go into the sea. It doesn't feel important to do cold showers or whatever.
I do a cold shower.
Oh, do you? Oh, right, okay, yeah, all right.
I do.
I'll leave you out the cold shower.
I do. I don't mind revealing some of my bathroom habits, and I do like a cold shower. I got used to a cold shower in Peru because they didn't have anything other than cold showers.
Yes.
Unless I got the electricity man came along and then put in a nice little electric shower for me, but it's not how we would see it. Wires everywhere, and you're like just hoping that you don't electrocute when you're in the shower. But I think it's like Dave and I've said in the past, a habit, you've got to enjoy it. It's got to be important. It's got to be, and we're all different, come from different shapes and sizes and walks of life, and what we enjoy and what we don't enjoy. What I would say is, and I'm not gonna, lay down this gauntlet and say when, but if there's something that if we're talking about this and you're sort of, if you're a blanket, nope, this is not for me. But if you're sitting there thinking, I wonder what it would be like, the one thing I would say is, because I hate I wonders and what ifs, and that is go and do it once, because if nothing else, once tells you whether it's important to you or not. Once will be enough to let you know whether this is something you can enjoy. And even though it might be, as you say, a mental mindset to stay in that water, you'll know instantly, and you'll either be in and then straight back out, and you've got the answer. But not just for swimming, for everything. You know, there's so many tips and tools, and the one thing I've learned is that you literally, it's like a kid in a toy shop, isn't it? Try them all out and see which toys you like.
That's right,
Know which ones you enjoy, and then embrace them.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Gary, I just want to add something as well, mate, that I think is really, really relevant. Is it must have been about 2 years ago now. My wife Kelly and me, we went up to see Ant Middleton. So Ant Middleton is the SAS guy on Who Dares Wins. We see him on the television, etc. And went up to Newcastle City Hall. The place was packed. And when you're sitting there waiting for him to come on the stage, you're in that mindset of curiosity. You're kind of like, what's he going to say? What can I really learn that I don't already know? It's a bit like a kid at Christmas. It's like, I'm really excited about this. And when he came on the stage, there was a big video was showed of him and SAS Who Dares Wins, all the challenges that he's did, etc. And then about 2 minutes later, he started to talk. And when he started talking, the whole place just literally went silent, completely silent. And he said, for the next 2.5 hours, what I want you to do, no matter what you see or what you hear, I want you to remember this. And he said, everything starts with you.
Wow.
And then it was like silent. And when you think about that, he's got a point. Because what I said early on about accountability, excuses, etc., if you have a deal with yourself inside of here and here, that everything starts with you, no matter what happens, you will always be the best version of you. And I just thought, do you know what? I've trained for many years. I've read loads of books. I've read Tony Robbins' books, etc. But everything starts with you is the most simplest message that I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, unbelievable. Seriously, what a guy. What a guy.
That's amazing. Gary, on that note, we're going to wrap things up because I know you've got a busy day ahead of you. All right. Yeah. And we really thank you for coming on today. I'm sure like lots of our guests, we could have carried this conversation on for hours and hours. And it's been really great to catch up with you again. And to see you again, and maybe we need to keep in touch a little bit more. Who knows? We keep promising that, but we never do it. But there you are. We'll promise it again. All right. But Sue, thanks very much for today. Gary, thanks very much for today. And our listeners and our viewers, I hope you really enjoyed it and you got some nuggets of information to take away. And we'll see you again next week for another Get in the Habit podcast.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.